Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Richmond, coming to you from my lanai in Naples, Florida. And thanks for Christine and organizing all this as a new member in Rotary. She's doing great. She's off and rolling. So a little background on myself. I've been joined Rotary back in the mid 80s. I had a client, Greg Mokler, who later became president of Rotary. And Greg, I stopped to see Greg one day and he said, come on, we're going to go to Rotary and have lunch together with everyone. And I joined Greg that day, and I suppose the rest is history. He and I became very good friends. He was a great Rotarian. He now lives in Southern California, but it was the beginning of many, many very enjoyable years for me to be a part of Foothills Rotary. So as I said, I've been in the club about 35 years. And why did I choose Rotary? When I moved to Fort Collins with my family in 1982 to start to work and start an office for Flood and Peterson Insurance. And I always wanted to be involved in the community. And as a new person in town, it was a great way to meet a lot of new people. And my grandfather had been in Rotary and I knew just a little bit about it. And I always was intrigued to learn more about it. And Greg helped me get involved. And I've come to learn over the many, many years that I've been involved, all the great things that Rotary does, not only in Fort Collins and Colorado, but all over the world. And certainly, what do I like about Rotary? Probably like many, many people, it's the people that really make Rotary happen. I have many, many friends in the club that we've known for a long, long time. We've traveled together, whether it be around the state or in some cases, around over to Europe or to an international convention. And the people in our club have just been fantastic. The international aspect of Rotary, I say there's nobody in the world that can get more done with volunteer members around the world than Rotary. And you've seen what we've done with polio and eradicating polio almost where it's no longer existent, except for maybe in a couple countries. And Rotary's been able to get that done, which is, I think, quite amazing. So our family hosted, I think, 7 or 8 different exchange students from many different countries. What a great experience that was with our 2 daughters. Personally went and visited those families, a family in Zimbabwe, Africa, and stayed with her family, Portia's family in Zimbabwe, and then went to Japan and stayed with Hitomi's family outside of Tokyo in Japan, and traveled around with Hitomi. And what a way to see Rotary and go to clubs around the world and see how different they are and what great things that they can do in respective countries. So what else happens in Rotary? We do so many local things. I think the most recent project that I worked on was for the food bank during the pandemic, and helped at a drive-by food bank here a couple of months ago. And we just do so many, many things. President Karen and all the board members have been great about organizing all these different things for a club to help during the COVID-19. And it's just been amazing, all the things that we do, even though we're not meeting most of the time in person. It's just with Zoom. So, and maybe a special call out to all the great presidents that we've had for Foothills Rotary, particularly our current president, Karen, and most recent president, Mike, who's relocated to Arizona. But we've had a long string of very, very good presidents in our local club, and the club wouldn't be what it is today without the leadership we've seen from Karen and Mike and the many great presidents prior to them. So my favorite charitable memory, and it really wasn't my doings, but many of you guys will have heard this story. So I've ridden bicycles a lot in my life over the last 25 years. And in 2015, President Bruce, and then again in 2019, President Mike came to me, and I had 2 bike trips planned to ride across America. The first one in 15 was from Oregon to Maine, and then in 2019 was from Santa Barbara to South Carolina. And these are 3,800-mile bicycle trips across America. And they put it together. They came to me and said, hey, we'd like you to kind of lead the club in raising money for Rotary International and for Paul Harris Fellows, and most recently for our local Rotary Foundation. And so those two bike trips, I was out on the road riding, and then our local Rotarians, Monty and Lynn and Barb, and of course the presidents in the club, they were talking about it on a weekly basis. And we raised, I think, approximately 30,000 in both of those rides, 30,000 in 15, and then another, I think, a little bit more than 30,000 in 19 that went to RI and then our local foundation. And it was quite an honor to represent the club. And President Bruce, our first ride, had got me a Rotary bike jersey. So I was wearing that out on the road. And a couple of times I recall calling in to some of the club meetings and just kind of updating the club on where we were. And the club was extraordinarily supportive. Really, the members did it themselves. I really didn't do anything other than just ride my bike. So it was really a great thing for the club and RI, and in terms of all the things that happened. So, fun fact, some of you might know, but maybe a lot of you don't. My wife and I have traveled extensively around the world. We've been in more than 100 countries around the world, several of those with Rotary, and places like Papua New Guinea, Easter Island, New Zealand, Solomon Islands. One of my favorites is Svalbard, Norway, which is up near the North Pole, looking for polar bears. What an experience that was. Most recently in Cuba a couple years ago, Zimbabwe, Africa, going on safari down there and going to a Rotary club down there. Recently went to see the Komodo dragons over in Indonesia, and then some orangutans in the jungles of Indonesia. And I guess the last country perhaps that's a little unique is Madagascar, to see the lemurs and all the great wildlife down in Madagascar, which is a large island off of Africa. So we've traveled a lot. I miss it greatly with the shutdown in the pandemic, and hopefully we'll get back out on the road. And a little fun fact, just to finish up with. So I was with downtown friend, Dr. Jeffrey, and we were in the Solomon Islands. This was 4 years ago. We were at a Rotary meeting in the capital city of the Solomon Islands, and we asked for a ride home from some of the Rotarians back to our hotel. And the Rotarian said, sure, I'll be happy to take you guys back. And come to find out, he was the Chief Justice of the Solomon Islands Supreme Court at the Rotary meeting. And he took us back to our hotel. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is a big deal. And it's a very small country in the South Pacific. And what an honor was just to meet somebody like that. So you never know what Rotary is going to bring. So many friends and unique things that happen around the world. So thanks to Christine for organizing this, and hope everybody's being safe as we move through this pandemic. Greetings, take care.